And welcome back to my program. I want to talk a little bit about the changing role of the South, politics in the South. The last Democrat to stand in the South, my senator down in Louisiana, not really my senator, really not a big fan of hers, but a Democratic senator in the South, Mary Landrieu, was defeated in her efforts to be reelected here this past Saturday. Louisiana has what is called these jungle primary, which is 30 days beyond all the other elections in the country. Oddball situation that goes to open primaries, whole different issue, but in any event, it's 30 days later. So we just found out that she was defeated in this last election. I wrote about it in my column this week about why she was defeated. You can see it here on the website, and that you'll be able to read over. But I think the bigger issue is what is the future of the Democratic Party in the South? Is it dead? Is it gone? I don't think so. And I'm not speaking as a Democrat or Republican. I'm just trying to give a neutral view as someone who's more independent. I think what's happened is there's been this onslaught going on for years. Richard Nixon put together a strategy to polarize, if you will, the South. And of course, race relations have been very difficult in the South, although it's not just the South, as we've seen in Ferguson, Missouri, and up in Long Island and all around the rest of the country. We don't have those types of confrontations going on in the South today anymore. We used to. But I think the bigger issue is, what can Democrats talk about in the South that differentiates themselves from Republicans? And I think there's quite a bit. We used to have a Louisiana Democratic Party that was very independent. They were not tied to the national party on many issues. Where there was comity, where there was agreement, they supported the Democratic Party. But where there's disagreement, then they didn't. And there's some issues up there that don't really reflect, I think, the values of the South, particularly my home state of Louisiana. The dramatic loss of freedom in this country today that has been genuflected to and rubber stamped by both Republicans and Democrats, I think give a huge opening for Democrats in the South, in Louisiana, my home state, as well as the rest of the South. Rand Paul is a Republican, but he's speaking much more as an independent. This is the senator from Kentucky saying that the country has been let down by the lack of freedoms, by the freedoms being taken away in terms of the government, who are now able to spy on you in your car, through your email, through any type of electronics that you have, and the very limitations put on you in terms of your freedoms in this country today. I think it's an excellent issue because Republicans have been hardcore in terms of taking away American freedoms. A lot of Northern Democrats have too. Second important issue, the social issues, getting government out of our private lives, out of our bedrooms, out of so much of what we do. I think it's a strong issue to develop coming up in the months and years to come. And you've seen Democrats and Republicans alike on the national stage who have been very invasive in our private lives. So when you look it all over, I think there's room for it could be a third party, quite frankly. The problem is it takes an enormous sum of money by very wealthy individuals to form a third party. Been some talk by Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York, very progressive mayor of New York, but he doesn't reflect the values you would find in my part of the country. So that part of third party effort is just not going to wash. What I think will wash, where you could grow, is a problem based on better spending habits, more concentrated efforts to control the spending in this country today. Republicans talk about this, but they talk out of both sides of their mouths. Democrats, we know, are big spenders. Look, when it comes to spending and being economically feasible and responsible in this country today, you could put both parties in a sack and shake them up. It wouldn't matter who you pulled out, because they both reflect the same values of spend. A lot of talk about, we're going to shut down the government. Hogwash. The Republicans are just as big as spenders as the Democrats. I think a party best, whether a structure, a philosophy based on more responsible spending, individual freedoms, getting the government out of our business, getting the government out of our social issues, I think it'd go a long way and reflect very well on people that I find, that I talk to in the South, my home state of Louisiana, and other southern states. I think it would go a long way. Something I'll write about in the weeks to come, but I want to share that with you because I don't see the South, as far as the Democratic Party, being a dead place to grow. I think it's still got some potential down there. We'll talk some more, and I'll be back right after this message.